How to detach ourselves from our family with Jessie Legent. We choose our friends, but we don't choose our family. We become interlinked with them so much that we often lose ourselves through the dynamic and the unit that is our family. Sometimes the dynamic is good, but also we feel like we don't feel seen. Feels like we're the black sheep, or we're having to suppress something just to fit in, or we can't quite put our finger on it. If this seems like something you're going through, this episode is for you. Welcome aboard the podcast, A Woman Spark with Janik, a place to show women how powerful they are and remind them of the spark that they carry. The strength that gets us up every time we fall. A place to feel seen and understood when we don't fully have what it takes to get back up on a hard day, or the people around us to uplift us. This podcast is to help us heal and become the best version of ourselves during the roller coaster of life. We're building a community of women that wants to help one another and inspire each other to become stronger and more united, as we were born to be. Today, we're going to discuss the topic of our relationship with our families. Did you know a growing share of adults report distancing from or completely cutting off family members, often to protect their mental health, boundaries, or sense of self? Estrangement from family. In a recent survey, we can see 1 in 4 adults are estranged from at least one family member. And in the 2024-2025 polling shows even higher figures, that some data shows around 35 to 40% of adults estranged from at least one close relative. Some people even call it stepping back or going no contact. What happens emotionally when people detach? Well, studies show that family exiters describe a process of recognizing harm, setting firmer boundaries, and eventually feeling more emotional freedom and self-worth after stepping back. Many people report relief and grief. Relief at being away from chaos or disrespect, but grief over the loss of shared history, extended family, or a hoped-for relationship. Today, we're speaking to Jessie Legent. She's a certified neuro-linguistic programming life coach and founder of JL Coaching, known for helping leaders and professionals navigate personal and professional change. When we come back, we'll welcome Jessie. Welcome back to a Women's Spark podcast with Janik. On the show today, we're going to welcome Jessie Legent. Jessie is a certified neuro-linguistic programming life coach and founder of JL Coaching. She presents herself as a transformation coach who supports clients in setting goals, taking actions, and getting out of their own way, with services offered in both English and French. She has also appeared as a podcast guest discussing topics such as empowering women to move from mindset into action and sharing her experience of grieving the loss of her son, Zachary, which we've discussed in one of our first podcasts on this platform. Her messaging emphasizes helping clients who feel stuck, need a different perspective, or want to maximize effort towards a goal by shifting mindset and behavior rather than just giving advice. Please welcome our spark of the day, Jessie Legent. Hi, Jessie.
Hey.
Thank you for coming back on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This is round 2 and I love it.
Yes. We're coming close to almost a year. So this is very exciting. You were one of our first ones ever on this platform, on this podcast. So thank you so much for coming back.
I know. Thank you for having me again and congrats. Almost a year. That is quite the accomplishment.
Thank you. So today we're talking about how to detach ourselves from our families that we maybe we don't know how to approach, or maybe we have approached them several times. And I just want you to maybe first start by telling us how you connect to this kind of story.
Ooh, great question. So this is a personal one for me because I've had to walk that journey myself, where I've had to make the decision to go no contact with certain family members because I felt that throughout my journey, I have exhausted all options and there was no willingness to change or to be open to finding a middle ground. So then to preserve my peace, and as well as my family. I have made the decision to go no contact. Now, whether that's going to be definitive or not, if it's going to remain forever, time will tell. Because I do believe that people can change, but until that happens, I'm hunkering down and I am sticking to my boundaries. So it's very personal for me. Yes. Mhm.
It's very important because I feel that if you stay in the loop, you lose yourself and you stop respecting yourself. And it's very hard to maintain a healthy relationship if you're not respecting yourself from the get-go. So
Absolutely.
this situation that you are going through or have gone through
Mhm.
before taking the leap into no contact, because you do meet with clients who have similar situations. What do you see across the board when people come to you with a similar situation?
Well, when they come with a similar situation, I mean, going no, nobody wants to go no contact. Let's put that out there. It
Yes.
might seem drastic, and people from the outside will not necessarily understand. And it's not about other people understanding, but it's about being attuned to your needs and where you are on your journey and your process and how it has an impact on you and people closest to you. So, making that decision is really the last resort. And before going there, there are certain steps, there are certain things that need to be put in place to make sure that this does happen. Now, whether going no contact is something that you do for a certain period of time, or if this is, oh no, this is it, and this is how it's going to be moving forward, and I'm not going to go back, that is a personal choice. And it's not a conference call. Like, this is your decision with
Yeah.
yourself. As long as you're at peace with that decision, as hard as it is, you need to find the peace in making that decision and sticking to it.
When you're in that turmoil of
Mm.
trying to decide, what do I do with this relationship? What's the state of mind? Just so that the listeners can feel like, oh, yeah, actually, I may be going through something similar right now with X,
Mhm.
Y, and Z in my family.
Yes, so there's a lot of introspection of self awareness that needs to take place. Where maybe when you are within the turmoil, you don't really see how it has an impact on you, but eventually the dust settles a bit, and then you can take a look back and go, "Oh, wait a minute. Whenever this person calls me, my heart is beating out of my chest. My palms are sweaty. I'm anxious just like thinking about it. Like there's a family dinner coming, and every Sunday morning, right before the Sunday dinner, I'm feeling like really anxious or I'm snappy at the kids. Like you need to be aware of how it has an impact on physiologically, like whether, there are some physical symptoms, and there always is, and also how it affects your mindset, what you say to yourself, how you interact with other people, maybe how it impacts your partner, your kids, your close relationships. So there's a lot of signs around you that when you're going through it, you may not be aware because you're knee deep in it. But eventually you will take a step back and then you can take inventory. Wait a minute. This is what happens. This is what I say to myself. This is how I react towards myself. I'm not as kind with, how I talk to myself, or it might seem like extreme, but abusing myself, not taking care of myself, not sleeping well, not eating well. So all these things are signs that something is off.
Maybe even suppressing your own needs and desires. Like if you're in front of that person, I mean, it depends really on who you are and your personality, but I'll speak for myself. It was always, I kind of decided that I would stop giving my opinion because it never mattered. And I just suppressed it and just stayed quiet.
Mm,
And then you get the comments of, well, you never have something to say, or why are you so quiet? It's because I'm not feeling heard. I'm not
mm.
feeling seen, right? Is that how you felt with your family member?
Absolutely. I felt as if I couldn't be fully myself. I couldn't show up as myself. I had to leave a part of myself at the door when I was interacting with that person. I had to shut a part of myself, really, even on the phone talking to that person. And in every other aspect of my life, that was not part of the equation. But with that person specifically, it
Hmm.
was every single time. And that to me was a revelation of, hold up, this is not this is not what we subscribe to. This is not how it's supposed to be. This is a close family friend, or it's a close family member, and these are the people closest to you where you need to be feel the most yourself. And when you're not, that's a big indication that something is off.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
when you're not there yet, where you don't fully grasp that that's what you're going through,
Yeah.
what are the signs within your body that that the listeners can look out for or feel when living something like this?
First of all, something that I went through personally was when I was talking to my best friend, like something happened. It was like a blowout of some sort. And I was like venting to my best friend. And countless times she did say, because of course she has, the outside perspective. And she was like, well, you don't have to, you don't have to go through this. It doesn't have to be this way. You can walk away. And for me, it was like, well, no, I could never, because I was not ready.
Or
Even the
raised that
people,
way, or even raised that way, right?
that's
Because
part of
we're
the
we're
culture,
raised that family is a unit, and you stay together, and you uplift one another, and you're gonna roll with the punches
through thick and thin.
through thick and thin.
Blood is thicker than water. And especially the expectations towards like women and daughters and like wife, or being the best friend, like all of the roles that we take on, eventually it gets heavy. The burden, it becomes a burden. So when you're not ready to let go and to really stand in your truth, that's where there's this inner turmoil that comes up every time. And for some people, it will be one event, one comment, one thing that happens that makes you go, oh, today was the last day. This is not going to happen again. Like, I am done. And it might seem odd that it's coming out of nowhere, but internally, because you've been going through it, that it's been countless months, years of like just taking in the abuse, the comments, the jabs, the stuffing down your feelings and your desires and your needs, really.
Yeah.
So it's when you're not there yet and you're going through it, pay attention to how you feel, not only during, of course, before, but especially after. What happens internally? What do you
Mm.
say to yourself? What do you reach for to bring comfort? Is it you're numbing yourself in front of, I don't know, like you're watching TV, you're scrolling on social media, you're isolating yourself, you don't want to see people, you're drinking, you're abusing some sort of a substance. Like, how are you punishing yourself? How are you taking over the role of that person and abusing yourself with your actions, with your words, and with your behavior?
I would
It,
even add overthinking and maybe taking the blame. Maybe I didn't do this right. Maybe I should have been better. And believing that maybe you're the problem, as
yeah,
opposed to seeing that this is a relationship and it takes two to tango.
absolutely. And here's the thing. Yes, it's a relationship. It takes two to tango, but as important as it is to you to make it work, it should be just as important for the other party for this to work. So if you're the only one trying to shape shift to make this work, trying yet another approach, another way, maybe I need to change myself or conform in some sort of way to make this work. I mean, this is not a Cirque du Soleil. Like, it takes, it's both of you that's supposed to find a way to make this relationship work. And if you're the only one going back to the drawing board yet again, because, well, maybe if I change my tone, maybe if I change my approach, maybe if I don't wear my glasses, maybe if I don't wear red, if you're doing all these things and jumping through hoops, again, that's a big like red flag that you're doing too much. And it's not leveled. Like the energy is not the same, and something needs to be more balanced. And if there's no way to find a compromise, that's when decisions have to be made.
Absolutely. And they have to be made, but sometimes it's not obvious in the immediate. It takes time. It can take days, weeks, months, and even years before
Yeah.
you get to that point. And like you said earlier, it may just be that one event that is
Mhm.
the last drop that makes the glass spill. And
Mhm.
it may seem trivial for that one moment, but that one moment was just too much.
It wasn't about that moment. It was the compound effect of all of the moments. And that was just the extra, that was like the feather on top of the pile. But it's not about the feather. It's about like it's the bunch of it all. Like just the pile of gunk of I can't take this anymore. This is too much.
Mm.
Mm.
Does Do you have any recommendations before you go to no contact? So
Mhm.
someone comes to you and says, I'm really not feeling this relationship, and I've tried many things, or we'll go even in two ways. I've tried many things, or I don't know how to approach this person. I'm
Mhm.
just not feeling comfortable in this relationship. What do you recommend, Jessie?
Well, having outside help, professional help, can help you to not only get the skills, having resources, but talking to someone that's outside of the dynamic that doesn't have an invested interest in this going one way or another. So, by talking to a professional, it can help you not only process your feelings, but having an outside perspective. Am I going crazy here? Am I doing too much? Am I expecting too much? And that is really helpful because whether this whether the dynamic changes or not, something is going on within you, and this needs to be processed. So, by sitting down with a professional, with a therapist to talk it out and get some skills, that's regardless of what happens, this needs to happen just for your sake and your mental health. That needs to be done. That put aside, it's very important that going no contact, like I said, that's the last resort, but you could have a trial run. You could like
Okay.
maybe space out, the seeing each other or calling each other. Or if that person calls you, you don't have to pick up every time. You can call them when you're in better, headspace for you to, you're ready to have that conversation and everything that comes up with it. Or make sure that maybe you put a timer because past 5 minutes, I'm done. So put a timer so that you know that the conversation doesn't go more than 5 minutes. If it's visiting that person, if it's seeing that person, face to face, well, you put a timer on your phone. You know what? I'm double parked outside. I can't stay. Would love to catch up again, but gotta go. Have someone call you to, you know what? I'm waiting for you. I have to go pick up something or someone. So, you have tips and tricks for you to be an outside reminder to snap out of it. You need to get out of here because if you stay too long, that's when, you get swept up into like the dynamic of like the tit for tat or they're saying something and you shrink down. That's always helpful. You could give it a trial run. So try maybe not talking for, maybe a week. If you talk every day or you see each other every day. Because some people we can't avoid because we're so close, because they're part of your immediate family or, in-laws. Like some people you cannot avoid. So maybe space out the frequency of when you do interact and see each other. And when you do see each other, you don't have to stay for the whole time. You can just pass by and then you can leave. Or, you know what, I'm going to skip this one because I don't feel good or whatnot. Give it a try. And whether it's a week or 2 weeks or a month, take before you re-engage that dynamic, that relationship, take inventory of what happened. How did you feel? How was it for you to not have that interaction or limiting the interaction? And then you can decide whether it's going to be something that's going to be more permanent or if you're just, you're on pause now.
Thank you. Um, I mean, once you go no contact or once you start doing this distancing where you
Mhm.
take a week off or a few days off, there's this grief that settles in because, and I'm not going to say more about this, but I'd like you to elaborate on that state of mind once you take that decision to
Mhm.
choose yourself.
Yes, it takes a lot. And I want to start off by saying it takes a lot of courage to do that, to go against the grain, to go against expectations, for family members to come at you, not understanding, and you sticking to your guns. That takes a lot of courage because it's not easy. Because, like I said before, no one wants to go no contact. Now, The grief that comes is not the one-time event once you cut off and then, it's Monday now and I'm ready. No, this is something that's going to come up when you bump into, extended family, and then they ask you, so how's your sister? Well,
I don't speak
honestly,
to
we
her
don't talk,
anymore.
but
Yeah.
yeah, but like people don't know, and you don't want to go into, you don't want to go into the details, and you don't owe anyone an explanation, first and foremost. You don't owe nobody, an
True.
explanation. So how that's when it might come up, certain events that, or certain things that you used to share that now you're facing, and that person, you can't pick up the phone and reach out to them or share that moment with them. You're really grieving a relationship that you're giving up the possibly that it's never going to get better. The idea that you were um that you were cherishing, that, oh, one day she's going to get it, one day he's going to like get a clue, and things are going to get better, and the relationship is going to be what I always dreamed that it was going to be. And then having to let go of that dream that the relationship will never get there is something that you might have to process and come back to the drawing board like many times, because of dates, events, situations, bumping into like friends that like that knew you guys as a dynamic duo, and now you're not friends anymore, and people just like, what do you mean? You guys have been friends for 20 years. So it's cyclical event that you have to go through, but you have to be ready that when it does happen, to really handle yourself with care. That it's sad, but by choosing yourself, you're making sure that you're honoring your needs, your feelings, and making sure that you're not, nobody puts baby in the back, in the corner.
I
Literally,
love
put
that.
yourself in the front,
Absolutely.
because you deserve to have for you to be surrounded by people that support, love, and honor you. And if they don't, it's your decision what position you're going to put them in. Yeah.
I love it. It and the first thing that comes to mind, because you said earlier, people change and
Yeah.
we change. We
Yeah.
all evolve, right? It's not just about the other person. It's about both of our pathway.
Yeah.
And at what point do you recommend trying to reconnect with that
Mm,
person and rekindling this relationship, knowing that it's never going to be how it was before, because you've discovered that you don't want certain things, you have set your boundaries, you have your
mm,
limitations, and so there's the other person.
yeah.
Where can two people come back together and reconnect?
There's no one size fits all. I mean, sadly, every relationship is different, every dynamic is different. We're on different journeys. So I might be ready and the other party may not be ready. So it's really a matter of being, listening to yourself and being mindful of why do you why do you want that? Why do you want to reconnect? What's the purpose behind trying to reconnect? Because being on a separate journey and you not being who you used to be, and then being not who they used to be, like, what's the purpose of you guys getting back together again? Is it unconsciously wanting to get back to how things used to be? You have to be mindful of the intention behind it. Now, if it really means, that much, and it's really like working you to like, but I really want to rekindle, at that point, one thing that I always recommend to my clients is write them a letter. You don't have to send it to them. Just write them a letter. And sometimes to pour out, where you're at now, and, how things have been, or like a way of catching up with them, or the persona that you have in your head of who they are, because you really don't know them anymore, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes just to put it down on paper is enough to, I got it off my chest and I feel
And
better.
not give it to them, just
Exactly.
writing
You
a
don't
letter
give it
and
to them.
keep it. Okay.
You just keep it. And sometimes that's enough. And if that is not enough, well, you can always reach out. But again, be mindful of the intention behind it, and not having an expectation of, you know what? They're allowed to say yes, they're allowed to say no. And
Absolutely.
if they
Yeah.
say no, that's their right. And yeah, it might sting a bit, but at the same time, if they don't want to rekindle, reconnect, like touch base, check in, whatever, that's okay too, because we are on different journeys now. What was what served you in one season, it doesn't fit anymore, and it's time to be at peace and let it go.
The reason behind my pushing a little bit more on this question is to do, if we're having to let go of a family member and we're having to see them at family gatherings because you're still seeing the rest of your family, right? And wanting to maybe somehow reconnect so that it's not awkward during those family gatherings.
Yeah.
What would you recommend in that position?
It's important that within the family, that there's one person that can tap you out, tap you in, tap you out. So let's say it's Easter, we're all together for, the Easter dinner. And whether it's a sibling, parent, cousin, partner, someone that can come and like tug you on your jacket and go, hey, can I talk to you for a sec? Like, I want to show you something. Remember I was telling you? And that can be a clue of, you know what? Okay, that's your buyout into, talking to that person. Now, we need to be clear. We need to be very aware of how does it usually happen where they reel you in. What happens? Is it because they jab you? Is it because they ignore you? Is it because, how do they go about it? So that when it does happen again, because we're creatures of habit, when it does happen again, you don't fall for it. It's important for you to recognize how it goes down so that when it does happen, you can, oh, this is the part where I actually fall for it every time, and we're not doing this anymore. Now, we can still be, cordial. We can still be pleasant. Hey, how are you? How's the family? How's work? Whatever. And then you just go about your business. We don't need to sit, one next to each other. We don't need to like spend an hour sitting in the corner somewhere talking and catching up. It's not the time for us to rehash everything and like get, closure. It's not the time nor your place, but we just need to have an action plan. What's going to happen? If this happens, if they corner me somewhere, I need that person somewhere where I can like give them a signal, like, please help me.
Press the nose, tug the ear.
Save me, So when you have like different strategies, different things that surround you to support you, you can walk into that gathering where that person is present, where you can feel that you have some sort of agency of how things are going to go, and you're not a victim of this and the person being there, because you can be there and we don't have to talk. We can smile, we can say hi. You go this way, I go this way, and it's okay too.
For any listeners that are currently listening to this podcast and are in the turmoil of wanting to go ahead and take the next step with this relationship or this family member, what's the positive that can come out from choosing ourselves?
Now, that's the other side of it. There's inner peace that comes with, it's like a trade-off. Either you're buying peace of the dynamic of the family system, but inside the storm is raging within you. But when you put that down, the storm is no longer within you. Like you literally put it down. So there's a lot of inner peace of not having to tolerate disrespect, not having to hear the jabs, and not picking up that disrespect or the whatever came with it. And for you to like be harsh with yourself, for you to need to be quiet and isolate yourself for 48 hours because you're reeling from like the conversation or the jabs or them giving you the silent treatment or whatever. There's a lot of freedom that comes with, I don't have to carry that weight. I don't have the anxiety of like, I'm going to Sunday dinner. I'm grinding my teeth at night because it's like weighing so heavy on me. I'm not talking my husband's ear off because again, something happened and I'm rehashing like the whole thing and talking about it over and over and over. Like, you can just be. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to paint a rosy picture of, oh, it's perfection. No, you do miss that person because they mean a lot to you. They meant a lot to you at one point, and you would have hoped that things would have found a way to where we can coexist together and for there to still be a part of your life. But sometimes that's not a possibility because of mental health issues, because of abuse, because they have their own trauma that's unresolved and unprocessed. But at the end of the day, it's not your role um to be a victim of them like unleashing on you. So on the other side, it's peaceful. There's joy, there's serenity. You do miss them. There are certain occasions where you always saw yourself, oh, when I celebrate my 40th birthday party or my 50th birthday party, that person is going to be in the room and they have all the stories of like, oh, remember when we were like in high school or whatever. You're not going to get to live that picture of the future, but the new version of your future is just as beautiful and powerful and magical, even if they're not a part of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Someone else will be part of it.
Someone else, you
Someone
make it
else, or
new.
even just yourself.
And that's the thing. There's a new version of you that can actually rise up and take space where you don't shut a part of you. Because here's the thing, when you shut a part of you, when you dim yourself down, it doesn't only shut off the negative, but also the positive that you could welcome in. So by fully being yourself and by using your voice and owning your space and voicing your needs, all of that's powerful. And that's who you are meant to be, not for you to like shrink down. So, and with that, you will attract people that are more aligned with you, and then you can have healthier relationships.
A more peaceful life and a more peaceful within, less turmoil and tornadoes inside of you.
Yeah.
If you had one last advice to give to the listeners about how to detach yourself from a family member, even if it's just temporarily, what's one last advice you would give to the listeners?
One last advice. Boundaries, 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 boundaries with yourself, with others. You know yourself and you know how someone, they know how to push your buttons. And when they say this and when they do that, that's when you cave in. Hold yourself accountable that even when they say this, even when they do that, I am not going to give in. I am not giving in because I am choosing myself, because I deserve to be loved, respected, and honored. And I will not let someone, because we teach people, and we hear it all the time, right? We teach people how to treat us. You can't turn around and be upset that they said what they said and they did what they did when you let it roll. You let them do it and you don't react to it. You don't set boundaries. You don't tell them no. You don't speak up when it does happen. So please be clear what it is that you want at the end of the day. Who do you want to be? When you look back, how do you want things to be? So set clear boundaries with yourself and honor those boundaries so that you can move forward with the kind of relationships that you want to have with yourself and others.
Thank you so much, Jessie. I would like to end on a note. Where can we find you? Because you do help a lot of people to find their way. So where can we find your company and your organization?
Yes. So on the internets, you can find me at jessielegent.com. Of course, on social media, Coach Jessie L. Send me a DM, send me an email, and it would be my pleasure for me to connect with you and to further the conversation.
We'll put all the details in the summary for anyone who wants to click on the link. Just go in the summary below. Thank you so much, Jessie, for your knowledge and this discussion on the podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
To all you beautiful women out there who are finding it hard to fit in their own families, you're not alone, and you are allowed to have boundaries and demand to be respected. It takes time for others to get accustomed to this change, but you are worth being respected for your own self. This is self-care. Thank you for
Mm.
sharing your inspiring journey, Jessie. This is it for us for today. Tune in every week on your favorite podcast platform. If you want to get involved with the Be Guided, Be Inspired community, or you want to share what kind of impact you've had on others, go to our platform at www.beguidedbeinspired.com. Write us and we'll connect together. Let's change the world of women one conversation at a time. Keep sparkling, you beautiful women. See you next time. Bye.